Hey y'all, welcome back to Susie on the Farm. In today's video, I have 4 thrift flips for you. I just went through my stash and I picked out 4 items that needed makeover. I have no idea at this point what I'm gonna do with them. We're gonna do this together, so let's go ahead and get started. So these are the 4 items that I've picked out. I totally forgot that I had this super cute cutting board with feet already on it. This little box is pretty cute as is, but I think that it needs a little paint job and something to highlight that pretty detail a little bit better. This is just a silver tray. These are so fun to do, especially when they have all this pretty detail. I can see some dry brushing over that maybe, and maybe some decoupage paper. I did this box a few years ago, and I've just been using it in my Christmas decor. I feel like I can do a much better job with it now. So let's go ahead and get started with these items. I'm going to start with this tray. Looks like I paid $2.99 for it. I think I got this pretty recently. I love getting these silver trays to make over. So the first thing we do is always get the tags off and clean it up. All right, let's look through the decoupage paper and see what we can find to put on that tray. I'm loving the barnyard. I might do that cow. I don't really want to do anything Christmas on it. I've got so much Christmas stuff already. I'm going to do a little here and there, but I want to do something different. Ooh, what about the cowgirl? I don't know about her orientation. I think that'd be fun. Let's do that one. So for sure, the first thing I want to do is get this paper cut down to size. She's gonna have to be a little off-centered like this, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So what I'm gonna do is just like follow this line right here, I think. We're gonna tear it. That way we don't have to be as perfect. All right, so that needs to dry. Now we need to put a light base down. For the base coat, I'm going to use 2 coats of cashmere. I had a small sample size of this. And I do want to tell y'all, if y'all get these fusion sample sizes, once you open them, you do need to use them pretty quickly, because I have found in my stash that they will dry up. This one had dried up. Cool. I added some paint extender and some water, and I'm still able to use it. It's just quite thin. But yeah, use your samples up pretty quickly so they don't dry out on you. So once I get the 2 coats on this and it's good and dry, we'll move on to the decoupage. It's okay if it comes up above where the decoupage paper is. We can always paint over that or whatever we're going to do with that. I'm going to use the Fusion Decoupage and Transfer Gel to put this on, and I'm going to use the little starter strip method. So I just put a good healthy coat, and then I like to mist my decoupage paper. That helps with any wrinkles. It helps those fibers stretch. and makes it really easy just to brush the wrinkles out with your brush. So then I go over the top with another coat of the sealer, and then I just continue on down until I get it completely on there, and then I'll set it aside and let it dry before we move on to our next step. So once it's dried, I went through my paint stash, and the closest color I could find that matched that background was sandy blonde. So I gave the outside of the tray 2 coats of sandy blonde. I wasn't too careful if I got some paint on the decoupage paper because number 1, it's sealed. Number 2, this is DIY paint, which is water-based and can be wiped back with water anyway. So if I got anywhere I didn't want it, I would just take a wet cloth and wipe it off of the decoupage paper. But it blended really well with this, and I was pretty satisfied with the coverage after 2 coats. I didn't paint the back of the tray just because it's clean, it's silver, that way there's no chance of it getting scratched up on the back. So once this paint is dry, we're going to come back and I'm going to dry brush over all of those details. I knew when I saw all the details on this tray or platter or whatever you want to call it that I wanted to dry brush, and the color that I picked to do that is weathered wood, and it goes perfect with this sandy blonde and the colors in the photo. So I dry brushed it pretty heavily. At first I just went over the detail, and I never even dipped my brush again. I just used my brush and I dry brushed over the whole thing. And then once I finished that, I still felt like the sandy blonde needed to be richened up some, so I did some dark wax over the whole thing. I don't know how I missed getting that on film, but that also distressed it and brought back some of the beautiful silver tones. And y'all, look how perfect this came out. I love her. I love the look that she's giving. Seems like I do that look a lot. What do you guys think about this makeover? For our second project today, I'm going to make over this faux book box. I had stamped it a while back. It was in a video that I did with new release stamps, and I kind of did it in a hurry, and I never was really satisfied with it, although I really love those stamps, and I need to use them more this season. But anyway, I am going to just paint right over it and start afresh. I'm using one of the new fusion colors. This is Acadia Pear, and I do have this one back in stock if you didn't get it before. I did 2 coats with the Acadia Pear. I did the outside, the inside, everything, and it looks really good. Now to embellish this box. So I went through my transfers, and I have this gorgeous stag deer left from last year from the, I can't remember the name of it. It doesn't matter. You can't get it anymore. But I had this one left over, so I wanted to use it. I put it on the front of the box, and all your IOD transfers come with this tool where it makes it super easy just to rub them on. And these that are one piece, they do release so easy using your little tool. And then once you get it on, you just want to burnish everything down with your fingertips or the plastic backing. Now these little garlands, they came from Crimson Velvet, I think, from this year, and they have those pretty red berries, and I thought they would be great with it. And I love how they look on the faux spine of the book, but the colors in it are just slightly different from the ones that we put on the front from last year's pack. So I am going to use some of those berries and some of those holly leaves and just add them in here to the front of the box and to the stag, just to, you know, tie those colors in together. I didn't tie a twine or anything around this book, just to finish it off. Of course, I sealed my transfers in, but I also took some of the antique gold rub and buff. Y'all know it's not really a thrift flip if I don't use some antique gold rub and buff on it somewhere. once I got all these transfers down, I used that on the faux pages of the book, and this turned out so magnificent. I love this stag. He's very regal. So for this cutting board with the little feet on it, we're going to use this rice paper. This is one of the Connie Lines and Designs. This one is called Holly Frost, and it comes in like 3 or 4 different sizes, as many of the Connie Lines papers do. And these are rice papers, so they're a little bit thick, and I'm gonna have to get a little creative with this one because I do not want to open another pack, but I do want to continue that pattern up the handle, and I barely have enough to do it. So I just cut off the white on the top, and I cut off the excess on the bottom so we can reuse that up there on the top. And since this rice paper is thicker, it's a lot easier to decoupage with. There's no need for me to do a starter strip. I use my Fusion decoupage and transfer gel, and I still do wet the back of my rice paper, lay it where I want it, then I just use my hands to smooth it all out, and I will put another coat or 2 of the decoupage medium on the top. Since this is kind of a riser and things are going to be sitting on it a lot, I did 2 coats. So here's where I got to get creative and use every little drop of this paper. I carefully cut all the white off of it, and then I just matched up the patterns the best I could, and I just kept going up the handle until I got all of it transferred. My decoupage gel is completely dried, I'm going to come back and sand off all the excess on the sides. You really could not even see the seams except for that one. So I took a little retro ribbon here and just tied around that, and I started to paint the bottom side, but I really thought the color matched so well with this paper that I didn't even bother doing that. You could finish it off, but I think it looks great just like it is. This last project actually ended up being my favorite, and still at this point, as I'm looking at this little box, I don't know what I'm going to do. A lot of times when I get to that point, I just go ahead and I pick a color and I paint it, and then something will speak to me, something will come to me. So the color that I picked for this was Mint Chip. It goes great with all the kitschy Christmas stuff that is so in this year. So I gave the whole box inside, outside. I did the hinges and everything, and then with 2 coats, and then I did distress it. And the great thing about the DIY paint is it is easily distressed with water, so I did not have to get a sandpaper. So what I finally decided to do is I went through my little stash of little things and I found this sweet little flocked rabbit and then I remembered these little rabbits. I think these were either in the Kitschy transfer book or the Yuletide, but either way, there were two little flocked rabbits with some greenery with them, and I used both of them on the lid. I'm making this into a little Christmas vignette, but with it having rabbits, you could always change out the florals, and this could be up year round, or all of the decorating that I'm doing on this is in the inside, so you could also just take the florals off and use it as an actual box the rest of the year. So to put these transfers on, there was that little lip, so I had to get creative. You'll see here with the second one kind of how I did that. It's a little bit. So what I did is I transferred it onto the raised areas first, and then I kind of used the tool to cut the transfer on the edges so I could push it down into those crevices without cracking it. See, there's where I'm kind of cutting it with the tool, and then I will push it down into the corners and everything. And then I just continue transferring it on and burnish it in really well with my fingertips and the backing. Now for the inside of the box, I don't want any of this to be permanent, so I'm just going to cut a small piece of floral foam that fits perfectly in the inside, and we're going to put a little bit of faux snow on it, and can be a little bit messy. I did hot glue, and then I just added a little bit of the snowballs onto it. They didn't all stick, but these are like, I guess they have static electricity, so they don't really go anywhere once they're all together. And I want that lid to stay up, so I'll have to fix that here in just a minute. But here I'm just putting the hot glue on, and then I'll pour the snowballs on there, put my bunny back on, add some greenery, and then I had a couple of little mini ornaments, and I used one of those to hold the lid up, and all of this is just using a tad of hot glue so it can easily be removed at a later date. I love making these little Christmas vignettes. It's a great way to use up all your little bits and pieces that you don't know how to use. I'm just using some greenery pieces that I have here, these little ornaments, and I have a little red bow that has a piece of floral wire all in it, and I can just stick it right down in there. Like I said, all of this is very easily removed to change out for the seasons, or take everything out if you just want to use the box as is. So this one did turn out to be my favorite. These rabbits just have my heart. They are so stinking cute, and I love this whole project. Y'all have enjoyed all of today's projects. I post thrift flip videos every Wednesday night at 6. If you like this kind of content, please be sure to subscribe to my channel, hit the like on this video, and share it out to your friends that are also interested in this kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all again next week.